Hey, vinyl fans, welcome to another episode of Let's Clean a Record. Today, I am your flattening guy. We are going to tackle warped records. Got two of them to share with you. You might have seen the episode not too long ago where we featured this record. It's a brand new pressing, slightly warped. Theoretically, this one should be easy to fix, so we'll tackle this one first. We also have Kiss, the originals. Who remembers this? The first three Kiss albums were repackaged back in 1976. This is the second pressing, so this is probably 77 or so. Records from that era are notoriously difficult to flatten. The one that is particularly warped here is Dress to Kill. I don't know if we're going to be able to do it, but we're going to try. Let's get to it. Let's flatten this record. Okay, fellas, it's Labor Day 2024. As of this date, I'm aware of 3 products on the market that are designed to flatten warped records. We'll start at the top of the range. Furutech makes a flattener that currently sells for $2,713. Yikes, that's quite a bit. Yeah, kind of looks like a waffle maker almost. I have seen one in action. If any of you have been on the West Coast and remember the Analog Room in Campbell, California, it was a record store and hi-fi shop. Brian Hartzell was the owner. Unfortunately, he passed away recently, but back in the day, he had a Furutech in the shop, and I watched him flatten several records over the years, and it worked quite well. It ought to for that kind of money. A more recent entrant to the market is the Pi flattening system. I think they call it the Pi record system. PI, as in 3.14. It's very similar to what we're going to use, which is the vinyl flat system. Looks a little fancier. It's currently on sale for $275, I believe. The normal price is $350. The vinyl flat is the third one. It's been around for a very long time. We've had this one for over a decade now. It goes along with the groovy pouch. That's what they call it, the groovy pouch. It's just a heating pad. It goes for about $230. So we're going to demonstrate how to get the best out of the vinyl flat system, and we're going to see if we can flatten these records. Okay, fellas, here's what comes with the vinyl flat system. The first thing you have are these 2 very heavy steel plates. We'll take them apart and show you how it works. You've got a wing nut, a simple washer, top plate comes off, and in between we have 2 felt pads. They do sell replacement pads, by the way, if these were to wear out over time. Obviously, the record goes between the felt pads. The weight of the steel itself will help to flatten the record, but you got to add heat to it unless you want to wait months and months and months and months to be able to flatten the record. The ideal heating range is between 130 and 150 degrees. If you get too much above that, you run the risk of damaging the record. That's one of the reasons why I don't recommend a DIY approach. You may have seen guys take 2 pieces of glass, put some weight on top of it, and put it into an oven. The problem with that is most ovens have a minimum temperature of about 170 degrees. I think that's a bit too hot. I would not risk it, especially with a treasured record. So instead of using the oven, what Vinyl Flat has done is provided a heating pad. They call it the groovy pouch. And basically, you've got it's made by Sunbeam, so you have a very simple system there of high, medium, and low and off. I have found that if you put it on high and give it about an hour before you use it, it will bring the temp to, let's check it out, just under 140 degrees. That's about what you want. By the way, the vinyl flat does come with its own digital thermometer for that purpose. Battery's gone dead in this one, so an analog one will work. In any case, once you get this heated up, the idea is to put the record in here, apply the weight to it, and then put it into the groovy pouch. You want to start off with about an hour to an hour and a half, and then you have to turn it off, and that's key. Let it cool for 45 minutes. You can test it at that point. If you fixed your warp, you're good to go. If not, increase about 30 minutes the heating time. So once it cools down for 45 minutes, if you still have the warp, try an hour and a half to 2 hours, and then another 45-minute cool down. And you can keep upping that process. And I suspect we're going to have to for that Kiss record. But you can keep doing that as long as it's necessary to flatten out the record, if it could even be flattened out. Also have one other suggestion for you. Obviously, you can time this with a timer or a nice little chronograph watch if you have one, but I prefer this kind of thing. Simple plug-in directly into the wall sort of timer, where you can set the time and it'll shut it off after. In our case, we're going to go with 1 hour and 15 for the first cycle. But whatever your time is, it'll shut it off so you don't have to worry about it. We showed you the extent to which this record is warped. It's not too bad. This will be the first time I've ever tried to flatten a record that isn't standard black in color. I don't know if that's going to make any difference, but we'll find out together. So here's how it works. Top felt. Now the wing nut is not meant to be cranked down. That's not the idea. The weight of the steel will help in the flattening process. This is just to help to keep everything together. All right, let's set this aside and we're going to open up our groovy pouch. And if you don't like the sound of Velcro, mute your system. There we go.
There's no psychedelic colors. I don't know how they can call it groovy.
This is true. I don't know where they came up with that name. But you just want to set it in there. Cover it up. As I mentioned, this has been preheated, this pad, to about 140 degrees, which is right in the sweet spot range. Want to make sure it's nice and sealed. Once you get your ideal temperature there, you can remove the thermometer. You don't have to worry. You don't have to monitor that over time. And then I set down my countdown to, let's start at 120. Using that kind of timer, this will shut off after 1 hour and 20 minutes. We'll let it cool down for 45. Then we'll see if we have tackled that warp.
That's flat.
Perfect.
That's awesome. Good stuff, yep.
Okay, as you can see, that record is now perfectly flat. So kudos to the vinyl flat system. It did exactly what it was supposed to do, and it only took one treatment. So very pleased with that. Next up, we're going to try this old Kiss record. Two things to keep in mind here. One, this is a far more severe example of warping, like way more warped. And secondly, this comes from that mid to late 70s era where a lot of vinyl of that era was really cheaply made, and it is frankly very hard to flatten. Some say it cannot be flattened, but we're going to put that to the test. One other thing I didn't mention before, whatever vinyl flattening system you're using, it is imperative that you first clean the record. You want to get out any debris, otherwise you might be pressing that debris into the wrong part of the vinyl. So both of these were cleaned previously. All right, let's get the Kiss record through its first treatment. We're going to give it 1 hour and 20 minutes of heat at about 140 degrees, and then we'll let it cool for at least 45 minutes, and we'll check it. My guess is we're going to have to do a second, probably third, maybe even more treatments, but we'll see.
Oh, it's better. I can see it's better. It's not there yet, but let's see.
Yeah, it is there, yeah. Oh yeah, I can see the lump.
Ooh, yep.
Okay, it is indeed better. It is flatter than it was before, but it is going to need at least one more session. I suspect more than just another. We did an hour and 20 minutes the first time. Let's go for an hour 45. Okay, well, it is the next day, so we're going to see how we did. By the way, if you're dealing with a record like this Kiss record that you think is going to take multiple treatments before it gets flat, if it ever does, it's not a bad idea to take out the steel and to pre-warm the blanket or the groovy pouch, which is exactly what we've been doing. It's been on about an hour. I know from experience that's going to be about 135, 140 degrees, which is exactly what we want. Let's see if we need to do it yet another time.
Well, it's getting there. For sure.
So it's definitely going to need a third treatment, and for this one we're going to go 2 hours and 15 minutes. There you go, 2:15. We'll let it cool for at least 45, and we'll see. We're going to keep at it, and we'll let you know. Best one yet. I'm getting good at this. Oh, that's much better.
It's miles.
Yeah, no, one more time. Oh my goodness, it's still warped though.
Still got the
Yeah,
that
it's still,
lump there.
it's still got the lumps.
So how many weeks?
Okay, final thoughts and for the record. Before we get to how our flattening process turned out, I want to state at the beginning of this video, I mentioned the other flattening systems that are available, and I missed one. The Orb Audio. Not inexpensive, but not quite as expensive as the Furutech. You got the Furutech at what, $2,700? The Orb Audio, very similar looking device, is about $1,600. Very expensive compared to our vinyl flat system or the more recent entry into the market, the Pi. So that's what you have to choose from. As far as how did our vinyl flat system work, well, we saw it work on this record absolutely beautifully. One session and it was done and as flat as could be. We listened to it after flattening it and it sounded great. So thumbs up, did a great job. However, when dealing with those records from the mid to late 70s, they can be a huge challenge. As you saw, I can't remember how many times we're up to with the Kiss record, Dressed to Kill.
Many.
Many is over the course of 5 days, and it's still going. Now, the good news is we were within 2 or 3 flattening sessions, we were able to take it from unplayable to playable. So that's saying something. But it is still not perfectly flat, and it's currently baking at almost 5 hours, right? 4 hours and 45 minutes. So we'll let you know next week if we were ever actually able to get this perfectly flat. I don't know. I tried 1 year ago and then was not able. I gave up before it got.
We're going to get there.
We're going to keep trying, though, just for you guys. All right. We'll see you at the next record.